What's up, bitches? Oh my god, I can't believe what Matt did tonight.
Everyone can hear you.
Hank is. I was like, you can hear you. I was like, Hank. Full panic.
Opening.
Am I right though, guys, or am I right?
What's up,
You're
Hank?
right.
Peace.
Thanks.
Norman.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Cutting Stems, Fantasy Suites. We are virtual. Trent's doing some important golf work.
Yes, very important golf work.
I know. I missed the first hour of the show. Like, I was supposed to be done with what I was supposed to do today. We were filming a bunch of videos and whatever, and it just ran over. We had a guest pop up at the last second. So I just completely missed the first hour. So I'm just going to listen to you guys react to it, and then I'm going to react to your reactions, I guess.
Perfect.
Well, I think, honestly, this is a great time, since we're talking about Trent, to cheers our Owens mixers to Trent, because it's his birthday tomorrow. So happy birthday, Trent.
Trent.
Thank you. Thank you. I actually kind of forgot about that. So yeah, tomorrow.
I got a heads up about it. Robbie texted me.
Oh,
Robbie texted me, and he said, "Is Trent doing Cutting Stems tonight?" And I said, "I'm pretty sure. We haven't really been able to get a hold of him. He's doing all this golf stuff." And then he said, "Well, it's his birthday tomorrow, so give him a shout out." So shout out to Trent. Cheers. We're drinking Trent. Owens mixers.
Thank you. That's very nice. Thank you.
Going to be talking about it all week. You can get your Owens mixers at Amazon. Definitely stock up before next week. We're going to need it for the finale.
Yes.
Big time. I feel like we're at this point. Thank God that this is almost over. I kind of went into the episode being like, 2 more weeks. This is it. 2 more episodes. And we'll get to the end of this. Cause it's just, let me tell you guys, and not that we were outright spoiled about anything, because, you could still not know what's going on, but you'd have to really be trying hard to not know how this ended. So it just really reaffirms how much spoilers for this show are just no fun. Like, it's just never any fun.
We're always yelling about, we tell everybody, we're always like, no spoilers, no spoilers. I'm a really serious person about that, just because like I won't act genuinely. Like, I have there's no like pep in my step for any of these shows right now. Like, it's just like, it's lame. I want it to be over. I want it to be done. I want to put it in the past. And that's what happens when you have spoilers.
I couldn't even form a tweet throughout this entire episode. First of all, I indulged in quite a lot of pineapple. I was like not coherent for the entire episode, but also because I wasn't trying to be, I don't think, this isn't the first time I've been, under the influence watching an episode. I do it every time, but for some reason I couldn't form a tweet because I was just numb to it. I'm like, can we just end this shit already? We know what happens. We're seeing it right in front of our eyes. Like, I want to get to the finale. I need to know what happens between Matt and what happens with Rachel and what Emmanuel is going to say. Like, give me the fireworks. Nobody cares about these episodes right now because everybody knows this season doesn't matter until we get to the finale. And it's been this way for a couple of weeks now.
Yeah. If anything, Trent, I think this episode 2 just really reconfirmed that Matt deserves another go. And Matt deserves another go at this, because we really saw like a whole.
But does he?
Yes.
I don't know. Like, I love Matt James, and I think, whatever, but why does he deserve another go at this when he potentially picked the wrong person? Like, there were plenty of other good options.
No, I'm not talking about. Well, yes, of course. Well, 1, he didn't know, and 2, I'm talking more of like getting a show that's actually like about him. This season was not about him at all. Like, I feel like these moments tonight, there are times when it's like Matt is charismatic and funny and is having real conversations, but so much of the season we didn't get to see any of that. So that's more of where I was going with it.
But maybe
What
he'd
do
be
we-
better on like Paradise, where they show more funny conversations
That's what I
between the
was gonna say.
contestants more often, because clearly they didn't give him a great edit. We know he's funny. We've seen him crack a lot of jokes. He's funny on his TikTok. We see that personality. We didn't see that personality, unfortunately, this season. But maybe him as the lead, like he did it once, maybe Paradise would be more entertaining from him.
Maybe. I still think I would love to see him get to be the Bachelor again.
Do another thing.
It's weirdly a season that it hasn't been about anyone. I mean, it definitely wasn't about Matt. It was about these groups of girls who were mean to each other, and that sort of took over the entire season. I agree. I would watch another season of Matt, but only, and it's what you guys are saying, only if they show more of his personality. We know he's charismatic. We've talked to him. You guys have talked to him. Like, if we get more of that and less about everything that's going on with Veronica and Anna and MJ and all the girls in the house, like, I think that would be better. But I don't want another Matt season where it's just another season like this. I would only want a season where we're going to learn something about Matt, which there's a lot to learn.
Yeah. Maybe-
Trent, I think in the first hour of this episode tonight, I think actually the only thing that happened was Matt's conversation with his dad. Nothing, right? Did anything else happen? I feel like that was the only thing. I feel like we have been getting things like that. For every episode, there's like one or two great things. We're like, okay, that was important, but the rest of it is just like, what the hell is this?
Veronica again?
Did you?
Did we miss that? I mean, Noah just texted us in the Cutting Stems group, and all the people on YouTube are commenting Veronica.
Oh my god!
Wow.
I didn't even have to say
I
it.
didn't even pick up on
I didn't
it.
know either.
Now it's like a tick. Now it's something that I'm never going to be able to call her by the correct name again. She's
That's
Veronica to me for forever now because I can't get it out of my head. Fuck.
I also
Everyone's
love when
writing, who is Veronica?
who's Veronica. Trent.
It's been a long day, ladies and gentlemen.
I can't.
Been a long
extra-
day.
she's that extra
Veronica
woman.
again.
She's that extra girl. She came after Heather at some
This
point.
season has been about Veronica because it's about somebody who doesn't exist. It's about no one. Veronica, that name is just going to be stuck in my head forever. Fuck. What an idiot.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah. That conversation with Matt and his dad was definitely the biggest part of this episode, and it's how the episode started off. It was a very serious conversation. I think we're going to be hearing a lot of people talk about it. And it was very honest. It was very real. I think it was pretty uncomfortable to watch, which was the point of having it on TV. And as long as Matt, it's one thing if it's like, open the door, bam, here's Matt's dad, and he didn't know he was there, or what, more of like a setup situation. But it does seem like Matt did know his dad was coming and that they were going to have this conversation. And I'm guessing that means Matt felt comfortable having it on TV, not necessarily comfortable, but was okay with having it on TV. Yeah, right. Like agreed to do it and knew he was going to bring up these serious topics with his dad. And then Matt tweeted about it because there was a lot of conversation. Saw a lot of tweets of people saying that they wish they didn't watch it. They said that it felt like it was a private conversation that shouldn't have been on TV. But Matt tweeted and he said, tonight's convo with my dad was hard to experience and it's just as hard to watch all this time later, especially knowing the world is watching with me. I just wanted to say that too often we see dangerous stereotypes and negative depictions of Black fathers in media, and they have consequences when presented without context. He provided a link to further, if you want to further read about those stereotypes and depictions. And then he wrote, all I hope is that people watch that conversation with nuance, care, and also an understanding that there are real systemic issues at play. I'm so proud of myself for being vulnerable, and I'm so proud of my mother. I wouldn't be who I am without my dad. That's a fact. So it does seem like Matt felt like having that conversation on TV was something that he was okay with doing, and for people to watch and to have a kind of conversation around all of us watching it.
Yeah. I think that we were definitely led to believe that that conversation was going to be harder. I mean, it was a really hard conversation. I think we were led to believe it was going to be an ambush, a surprise, a blowout kind of in previews. And I thought that conversation was extremely honest, very mature for the most part. And I can't imagine, I mean, it's very hard to confront your parents as an adult to talk about things that they maybe did in the past that have affected you now? That's what kind of, you know, he was crying a little bit and he was upset, and you could tell he's trying to like work up the courage for that, because sometimes it's, you know, it's really hard to have that kind of conversation. And a lot of the times parents don't like to take responsibility for something that went wrong. And I feel like that conversation kind of opened up, you know, probably a bigger conversation that they'll have later.
Yeah, I'm just happy that it wasn't like a blindsiding situation, because in the commercials, it seemed like we were getting Matt's dad showing up, no warning, Matt's going to break down in tears, and that's just not what happened. So it was better than expected, and overall probably a very serious thing for his dad and him, but like not really for us. We were, I think, you know, it wasn't as shocking for me at least, or I don't know about you guys, but to watch it, it wasn't what I was expecting. So it didn't feel like as like, whoa.
Right. I think it's because it really did feel like it was an honest, like you said, Kelly, an honest, real conversation. It didn't feel played up for the drama or the big moment. It really felt like Matt was having a real conversation with his father, the same kind of conversation he would have if it wasn't on camera, except, you know, obviously it was on camera. But they were able to end the conversation. They hugged. He felt like he had a good, I think Matt felt like it was a good conversation for him to realize that, you know, he's not his father. He doesn't want to go through life doing the same things that, you know, his father did. And they're never really going to come to an understanding on the commitment problems and like the things like that between his parents' relationship. But it was something that he needed to have, because he then felt comfortable sharing that with every single girl on the fantasy suite dates. Like every single dinner, he said, you know, I had this conversation with my dad talking about commitment. He's ready to kind of open up more. And he said that to every single one of them, because I feel like that was such a big roadblock for him on where he was so nervous about opening up and really getting serious and being in a committed relationship. Because he says that when it's gotten to that point in the past, he's always pulled back. And like he needed to get through that barrier and have that conversation to get to the other side, which is nice because he was able to talk to all the other women about it too.
Yeah, talking to the girls, they were all super mature and receptive of it too. I feel like maybe the conversation with Rachel seemed a little more surface level than the other two, but I feel like Bri had a really good contribution to it. I think that Michelle kind of took it really well. It just kind of seemed, you know, it was nice to see him be so honest with everybody. So that was something good to watch.
I felt like all of the dates were kind of just the same thing 3 times in a row. Yeah. None of them felt different and none of them stood out. I feel like in past seasons, it's been like, whoa, that fantasy suite, like what's going to happen there? I just didn't feel that this time around. I don't know about you guys, but it kind of felt like the same thing over and over again.
How was the date with Michelle? What did they do?
It was great. The date with Michelle was, I mean, just because I think I love Michelle, the date itself, they bathed in oatmeal and slattered butter all over each other. Kelly, has someone broken into your apartment?
Sink.
Are you
okay? Sink. It's fine. No, I was doing dishes before.
I mean, imagine
and I stopped halfway, and they're precariously placed, and one just fell like back into the sink, and I almost just had a stroke. Like,
I
so focused on what you're
like.
Kelly,
her face, I thought someone walked in the door.
Kelly, blink 3 times if you're being held hostage.
It would have been so good if somebody broke in though. Like, no offense to you, we would have been praying for you, but viewership wise, like, guy breaks in on Kelly Keegs while they're doing cutting stems. You know how many views we get on YouTube? Like, I'm sorry, I hope you're safe, but
no,
like,
you're absolutely right.
Literally comes in,
that scared
like,
me so much. Holy shit!
Fucking holds you hostage while we're on camera. Comes up to the screen and is like, "I'm coming for you guys next." I don't know what
turned down the brightness.
Like,
I turned the brightness down so they can't see you guys and they can't hear you because you're in my headphones. And I'll be like, "Oh,"
and then all of a sudden you go
him physically.
Yeah, he's like, "Somebody listening?" And then he comes
like, "Who's this 5'7" man who's broken into my apartment?" Like,
Trent and I are like, "All right, you guys are taking this down a dark path."
No, we're just writing a movie,
and then it makes it not scary anymore.
I felt legitimate concern at one point. I didn't know what was going on. So glad it's just
you guys for the concern. Yeah, just a misplaced fork, I believe. Is what it's called.
Anyway, Trent, Michelle and Matt slathered each other in butter, just absolutely coated each other in butter. That
sounds awesome.
That was pretty much the date, and they had a nice dinner. And you know why, Rhea, I feel like all the dates felt the same too, is because there was no big sex factor. Like there was no big like, hey, we're gonna be intimate. It didn't feel like that aspect of this was part of it at all. Watching it and watching past fantasy suites, in my mind, I'm always like, oh boy, thinking about if they're gonna have sex or what's gonna happen. Watching this, I was just like, I don't think he had sex with any of them. I think they just like had nice conversations and like just
I feel like he didn't have sex with any of them.
I know, I really don't either.
Everyone thinks that he had sex with all three of them. I don't think he had sex with any of them. No joke. I saw no sexual chemistry. Like for some reason, I am not getting sexual vibes from Matt James towards these women in this season, which is like, I guess he's being respectful. I wouldn't say this is a bad thing. I just feel like usually we feel a bit more like, whoa, the sexual tension's rising. Are they going to do it? It's been so long. And for some reason, it's lacking that this season.
I thought I got the vibe that him and Bri had sex. Maybe I misread it. Didn't they wake up? Wasn't she like rubbing his chest and they were both in bed? Like that felt like they
that was gonna be my next question. Is I feel like I didn't see, and I was gonna ask you guys, like I feel like I didn't see enough of them like in bed like that, or like I didn't see like the usual clothes on the floor, or like the sexy touching, or like they didn't really hammer it home like they usually do. Like I was confused.
I think there might have been a lot of cuddling, guys. I think a lot of cuddling.
How did I miss the cuddling? Like I feel like whenever I came back from a commercial, something completely different was happening, and there was no more.
We didn't see the cuddling. We didn't see the cuddling. I'm just assuming cuddling is what happens.
Like cuddling only.
There was a moment when I think Bri and Matt got out of bed, and they weirdly zoomed in on the pillows of the bed, and the pillows looked like they had been tossed around a bit. So I thought that
as always.
I was with you, Kelly. I was looking for any indication, like leaning one way or the other. But that's the only thing I saw.
Is it inappropriate for me to ask, like, what if they just give a blowjob? You know, what I feel
possible.
Like that. I feel like
that's not inappropriate.
No, it just feels like that would be like, okay, then why aren't we just doing the full thing? You know, like, oh, I'm just gonna give you a blowjob and we're on The Bachelor. Like, I don't know, that something about that. I'm trying to decide if like that would be the way to go. Or if somebody's just like, I don't feel like having sex, like I'll just give him a blowjob. Like that early on into the relationship. I don't know if I'm thinking about it too much, but I'm curious to know your thoughts, Kelly.
I feel like a lot of the time you're either like, Peter the Pilot or you're Luke P. Like it's either you are like sex is evil, we're not having sex. How dare you even assume I would have sex with you in this fantasy suite? Or it's like we're having sex 100 times that night and I'm gonna tell everybody the next day. Usually there is no in between. And Matt might be the in between.
Right, like, I gave him a blowjob. in the fantasy suite. Like,
I bet Rachel probably gave him a blowjob. Like, I bet Rachel was like, I'm not gonna like have sex with you all the way, but I'll like do this at least.
I almost feel like Matt would be like, no. Like,
he's too respectful.
Please don't.
Like, no. Way too respectful to receive a blowjob. Absolutely not.
Yeah, like if we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it all the way. But the blowjob too degrading.
No, too not here.
The Lord is in the room.
Yeah, the Lord is in the room. Exactly. The Lord is in the room.
Leave room for the Lord. She also said worth the wait, Bri said. I'm really focusing on the Bri part. She came back and there's always that awkward moment
I feel like they have the most physical chemistry, but clearly that didn't matter.
Yeah. But it's always awkward. They always have when they're all staying together during the fantasy suite week, and then one girl comes back and they're like, how'd it go? And Bri said worth the wait, which just seemed
that is weird.
Sexual.
It's weird to say worth the wait. I think that is strange because I think right there that opens up the door for me to be like, okay, but what am I waiting for? Like, fill me in. What's going on? I think that Rachel has it all wrong being super jealous when they come back. I think I want to pump them for information. Be like, okay, like what'd you guys do? Like, give me some tips. Like, what can I say, do, whatever. So I feel like, being third out of all the girls that you like have fantasy suites with doesn't seem ideal on the outside. But if you really think about it, you're like the last one. He's gonna remember you the most. Like, I don't know. Just some positives.
I feel like I'd rather be third than first.
I would too.
For sure.
100%. Yeah. Completely
Definitely want to be third. Like, okay, maybe he's gonna do something with the first two, but
Right.
the last one is by the last one, you're not gonna remember the first one.
Exactly.
It's the most recent one.
I was about to say
But-
something.
It's true.
I can't.
But maybe I don't. But maybe he's just like enough already. Like I just
No, but like
let a guy get some sleep. A guy wants to get a little bit of sleep.
Yeah.
I don't know. I want the, it's obviously none of our business, although it is a TV show, so it's like that's a bit of
It's our business, yeah.
Yeah. But I want to
Our
know.
business now.
Everyone acts like they don't want to know or that we shouldn't be able to know. But I very much would like to know. But that's
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll ever know.
And there were less there were just less cheesy possible sex edits, like there was no steaming hand on the bathroom wall. Like there wasn't, it felt a little PG-13, which is fine. It said that, Bri, the dates were all kind of PG-13, like Bri and they went camping and like, it was just, they're just laughing, fooling around, having fun. Rachel, they did the whole ghost pottery thing. Like it was all very PG-13. And Rachel definitely was a big focus of the episode because she was feeling uncomfortable at this time, Matt being with other girls. It just felt like she was, I don't know. I feel like Matt gave her some reassurance at some point in the season, and then she started to panic, and she needed Matt to say it all to her again, probably in the fantasy suites, because before the rose ceremony, Rachel was like, I've never been more confident. Like the way she said it was like, okay, bitch, like, like Matt said something to you because you don't like, no one ever is like, I'm 100% confident. It's me. I have no worries, not a care in the world.
Yeah, that was weird. I don't know. I think she's probably just insecure, like she's just like, and the other two handled it. Bri and Michelle handled the whole thing so maturely. Like I thought that the way that Michelle came back and the way she was talking to them, being like, oh, like, I know I can see you guys are struggling, but we did have
so great.
You'll love the time. Yeah. Michelle was like, look forward to it. Like you'll love the time that you'll have together and whatever. Like that is not something that comes, naturally. Like that's learned behavior that you're now preaching. And I feel like Rachel just hasn't had an opportunity to, be mature like that. And she's stuck in the situation. She's super jealous. And it's like, sometimes you get jealous. You need that reassurance.
Yeah. Yeah. What did we think about Bri getting sent home? Did we assume that she would be the one getting sent home this week? I kind of felt like we all saw it coming, even though Bri, we saw more and more of Bri towards the end, which is great because she just feels, I tweeted this, effortlessly cool. Like everything about her just oozes like you're just a cool girl.
Yeah, she's cool as shit. I really like her.
Yeah, I agree.
She's very cool.
Yeah, just something
you're
about
right,
her.
You're right.
Yeah.
Is she getting Bachelorette buzz? I would imagine she is right now.
I think so. And she should. I don't know what's going on with the Bachelorette, guys. I really don't. They said it was Katie. Then they said, just kidding, it's not Katie. Then Reality Steve said again, whatever it was at the end of last week. Coming back around, it actually is Katie. So they haven't made any.
When are we getting this
it.
announcement? When are we?
I'm hoping that at the finale.
I think we need to know who's going to host. Is Chris Harrison coming back or are they replacing him? We need answers and they better give it to us in the finale.
Yeah.
Do you think that they would do something stupid like have Katie be the host? Like that would piss me off, I think, because there are people like I like Katie, but there are people that should deserve it more than her, like JoJo or somebody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No shot.
It's definitely not going to be Katie.
No shot.
What was her? She like tweeted something, or she was like stay tuned for what we have in store. Like it seemed like it was Bachelorette things, and then when they were saying it's not Bachelorette, I was like, so then what is she doing? Like, so she's doing
a podcast.
That'd be so stupid. You're probably right. Honestly, you're probably right.
I think we'll hopefully find out who the Bachelorette is after the final rose. But I feel like they filmed that, and we would know for sure. Like someone would have leaked who it was. But I don't know when we're going to find out who's going to host the Bachelorette. But I would be pretty surprised if it was Chris Harrison.
Same.
Yeah, as would I, even though Chris Harrison seems like he's ready to get back to work already. So that's.
Oh yeah, I feel like we didn't even. That happened midweek last week, right? His talk with Michael Strahan. Yeah.
Yep. So I don't know.
Stars.
There's just a lot of unknowns. A lot
Mm-hmm.
of unknowns coming into the Bachelorette and just don't know what is going to happen when filming is happening. All we know is they're going to Albuquerque. That's it. Like that's all we know. All we know is that they're going to Troy and Gabriella's country club, and we don't know anything else. But let's take some questions, shall we? Let's get into some Bachelor Nation questions. Rhea, what do we got?
I got a good one. I got a good one for the first one. Are you guys ready?
Yep,
I'm ready.
Is it who's the man breaking into Kelly's apartment? Is that
Yeah.
No, unfortunately, but it's a good one. Are you guys ready?
Ready.
Yeah.
What do you think about the Heather and Matt
Oh,
conspiracy theories?
Oh, great question. Forgot all about that.
that just sent Trent into like a full shimmy.
I know, that was a good one, right?
It is a good one.
I put my phone down.
I believe it 100%. I feel like Kelly does too. I am all in. There's a lot. They were both in San Clementine, California. I got. It's been a long day. All right. It's San Clementine, and then wasn't Heather's or Matt's mom commenting on Heather's Instagrams. Like I think there's a lot of things pointing in that direction, and it would make sense. We talked about last week about how Heather got cut completely out of the Women Tell All. And it would make sense if they were dating, they wouldn't want to air her segment anymore. I am believing it 100%. Maybe it's not a ton of evidence, but there is definitely evidence there.
I mean, the fact they were in the same place at the same time, and it was not a place that either of them like reside all the time. You know what I mean? Like they were, It was either like a vacation or a trip, and they both happened to be there. Like maybe there were other people there, whatever. Maybe it's just a friend situation. But I'm with you, Trent. I think that like all signs are pointing to some canoodling at the very least.
Yes.
And I will say, it doesn't seem like we said, like, yes, Matt is a hot, sexy guy, but it doesn't seem like he's very sexual. Heather, her first kiss was on Colton's season. Maybe they have something to bond over that we don't know about sexually.
I don't think Fran's buying any of it. I think Fran is completely out on this.
No, look. The evidence is certainly all there, and I do very much like the point that Rhea just made. There's something still holding me back from
I don't know if I totally buy it either.
From going all the way in on it. I just think that it's all too soon. You know, I don't really know what went down with whoever he chose, but like it's I don't know, the speculation of the timeline. It just feels like if he was already dating Heather, it would be very quick compared to when all this shit went down over the last month. So timeline wise, I'm a little iffy about it. However, do I think that they were hanging out? I kind of do. I feel like they definitely saw each other in California, regardless of if that was like a romantic setting or not.
Shout out to the person on Twitter who tweeted at us that the place where Heather got coffee or wherever she was
around the block. Yeah,
it was 6 minutes away from where Matt was skateboarding that day. That is just That's like really
so good
investigative journalism, and I support that fully. Yeah.
And as friends, wouldn't they just hang out anyway if they were that close in proximity?
Exactly.
I don't know.
You would
just
think
saying.
so.
Next question. What do we think Matt cries about next week?
Oof, that is tough because I really thought they set that up to make us think it was going to be something with his dad, and so now really, what could it be? Like, is he?
I think
he already sent him Bri.
Like proposing.
You think?
I feel like that's cliche, but like I feel like it's just going to be. I feel like it's going to be a commitment thing. Like I think he's going to freak himself out about getting engaged.
Yeah, I think before this episode, I would have said the girl who he feels most strongly about would like say like I feel like I might leave. I'm getting
right.
But he got those reassurances from who I think is Rachel right now, where that would be the person who I think would make him cry like that. But I don't think that would happen again in the next episode. She seems all the way in.
Both of them do.
Yeah, they both do. So it might be what you're saying, that he just gets freaked out about potentially proposing. That could just be it.
Yeah, it's the
Interesting.
it's the boring answer, but I just feel like it kind of makes the most sense considering like at the beginning of this season we were talking about Matt never being in love before and not really having like very, serious relationships. So he
Mhm.
could potentially be freaking out about getting engaged.
Yeah. Also, all the like problematic stuff about Rachel, that even started coming out way after they filmed, right? Like that's not even.
I think
There was
so.
no crossover there. Like they could not be that. I
Yeah.
mean, that would be wild.
That's
if it was.
interesting, but I think it happened later.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
I think
his statement read that he put out a couple weeks ago, and I think he
Right.
said in there somewhere that he's like, I'm learning all this in real time with
Right.
everyone else. Like he didn't explicitly say it, but it felt like that's what it was. But yeah, that would be a good guess otherwise. Yeah.
Right.
Interesting.
Are we going to wear our evening gowns and tux for next week?
Yes, we are.
That's the plan.
That is the plan. Trent?
Trent.
I gotta find a tux rental place. And
Trent,
You will.
I'm gonna do it.
When you get some spare time this week, make a couple phone calls.
I'm gonna do
Yeah,
it.
all the spare time Trent has. The most out of all of us, I think.
It's the man's birthday tomorrow.
True.
I would just
True.
really, I really want to wear a tux. Like it's not the act of wearing a tux. I definitely want to wear one. I want to dress up like everybody else, but I just got to make sure I find a tux place. And I'm a little bit all over the place right now, so time is I'm on a crunch. But I'm gonna do my best to be wearing a tuxedo because I'm gonna feel like a real asshole if you guys are just dressed to the nines and I look like this, like that.
Ladies,
I gotta get a gown.
Yeah, can we discuss like, are we being serious or are we being like kind of cheesy? Because I kind of want to be kind of cheesy.
Let's be
I'll
cheesy.
be a little cheesy, like over the top. Like
I'm
I'm
thinking
I'll probably
like
wear sequins or something.
twins, like gloves,
Yeah.
like over the top, like
Yes.
not something I would actually wear, but for this,
Yeah,
I'm
no.
going to wear.
Something we would never actually wear because this is the only time we can wear it.
Perfect.
Yes.
Sign me
Yes,
up.
completely.
Okay, great.
Completely.
I like it.
Do we have any other questions or should we cut
No.
some stems? Okay,
Let's cut some stems.
Let's cut some stems and give out some roses. Any volunteers on who wants to go first? Oh, Rhea.
Ooh, really?
Yes, Maria. Hand up. That's you. Okay.
I'm going to start with cutting a stem. This one is very specific, but it has been imprinted in my mind. There was a scene where they just cut to Rachel and Matt's hands in the like ceramic, when they were making the pottery.
Yep.
And there was like a hole and their fingers were in it and it was very disturbing. And I feel like they put that in there subtly to see if anybody would catch on. And I did. And it grossed me out a little bit. It reminded me of a finger going into a vagina with like gooey stuff coming out,
Yep.
what I mean.
Yep.
So I'm going to cut the stem of that because that's been in my head for a while. And I would be curious to know if anybody else noticed that because I definitely did. And I will be giving my rose to Michelle. I'm going to put it as simple as that. I haven't given it to her yet. I feel like she deserves it. I feel like she had a great date. And I'm rooting for her, obviously, way more than I am Rachel. I'm not rooting for Rachel at all. So we're pulling for Michelle here, although who knows what will happen in the finale.
Yeah. Kelly, would you like to go next?
Yes, I will. The first rose I'm going to give is to Matt James. I don't think I've given Matt James a rose this entire time. And I thought that he was great on this episode. I thought that he was so mature, so cool. We get to like hear him talk more, like he was being serious and he just seemed more comfortable. And I loved that for him. So I'm giving it to him. And then my stem, I'm just going to give my stem to the fork in my sink that scared the shit out of me. And I'm still sweating. Like I've been sweating this whole time. I'm so uncomfortable. I want to die. So I'm going to go ahead and give that to that.
Trent, what do we got?
Yeah, so I'm going to cut my own stem for missing an hour of the show. Just poor time management on my part.
Yeah, that's just a team player right there. You are a team player.
Yeah, that was tough. I missed a full hour. I can't tell you last time I missed an hour of this show. It's been
on the eve of his birth.
It's been a very, very long time since that has happened, and I screwed it up. So I'm cutting my own stem, and then I'm giving my rose to the pottery instructor who had the first part of the Rachel Matt date was incredibly uncomfortable. Like they were in there, they were making the little pots, they were doing the clay, and then she just had to sit there as they awkwardly didn't speak, and maybe they cut it up in a dramatic way and it wasn't actually like that. But the way they cut it up, it made it seem like it was very awkward until Rachel was like, we got to go talk. And then they just left. So being a part of that uncomfortable moment for that pottery instructor, I felt for her. So I give my rose to her.
It's a good one.
I'm cutting Rachel's just like pout party. I'm all like the pity party she was throwing for herself. Cutting that. I just wasn't here for that. Like, don't really want to hear her complain about Matt being with other women. You know, that's the show. It happens every season. Someone complains or is worried at the time. And yes, I understand it. But when it becomes the center of the episode, it's just frustrating. Like, Rachel became the center of the episode because she was upset about the other women's dates. And that's annoying. I don't know why that needed to be like front and center. And then for my rose, one, I have a half here. Like, I got to give a little credit to Bri. I feel like Bri was fantastic this season. I was sad to see her go. And she, like I said, effortlessly cool. And then I just want to give a rose to Matt in this one moment. Rachel was coming into their fantasy date. She was entering the park, wherever they were. And she did not look happy. She looked pissed. She was sad. Like, she did not look like she was happy. And Matt couldn't gauge like where she was at. And Matt does a like lip bite. Like, he's like, and then he goes like, and then he rubs his palms and he went, it's been a while. Like, it was just like, he just goes, it's been a while. And the guy was cracking up because he clearly had no idea what to say to her to make her feel better, because I think automatically he could tell that she was upset. Like, he was smiling and she just wasn't smiling at him. And just the way he did the lip bite into the palms, just being like, it's been a while. Like, it's like, okay.
No. Jesus, Matt.
It was fantastic.
I feel like his like hand swipe lip bites are never timed right. Like, he does them so often and they are never timed right.
And because sometimes it happens when he's happy. Sometimes he does it when he's nervous. Like, this was a time when it was like, all right, this is a nervous palms rub. Like, you can tell you don't know what's going on. So just gonna applaud that moment because it was fantastic. You could tell how Matt just like did not know what to do with that situation.
How about Rachel saying she would jump out of an airplane 100 more times to like marry or have Matt propose to her? That's too many times to hit the ground that hard. You can't possibly have that happen 100 times. That just can't be true.
Look, everyone has their opinions about Rachel, and we all know what we know. But as we are getting down to the end of this, and clearly she really likes Matt. Like, I don't like to say that I'll face plant into the ground a bajillion times over and over again. Just ridiculous.
That's just cabin fever.
Yeah.
Just not true love talking. That's you're the only man in my eyesight for the past 6 weeks, and man.
Oh, man.
We also got another peek into how bad that accident actually was, because Matt was like, I went to a really, really dark place. But yeah, like we're never going to get the full details because they glossed over it so quickly and pretty much never talked about it again. But every time they slightly bring it up, you can tell it was a far more serious situation than we know.
Yeah, and they're trying to like brush it under the rug. They're like, let's stop talking about this incident. That was a problem.
Yeah.
It's very, I mean, it's very clear that she almost died. Like, we're all like, oh, whatever. She is like, I'll jump out of it a million more times. Like, you are lucky you survived the one time that it happened. Like, you face in the ground. Oh my God.
Oh
man. All right, guys. Well, I think that wraps it up for Fantasy Suites. We will be back for the finale, dressed to the nines, ready to go. Go to Amazon. Do it tonight. Do it in the morning. Make sure you get your Owens mixer so you're ready to go for the finale. Kelly is going to put together just an absolutely fantastic finale drinking game. You know she is.
Am.
Champagne better be involved.
Champagne will be involved. Of course, champagne's involved.
I'm thinking maybe the grapefruit and the champagne again.
That was my thoughts.
That was so good. And if you were drinking, the mint, cucumber, and lime with us tonight, I got my little tiny bottle. They're fantastic. You can go to Amazon, get them all, drink with us. And we will see you guys next week for the end of this season.